What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our college basketball week 6 picks. And, this week, you don't really have that many games going on during the week, but the weekend is loaded with some great games. And we're just going to jump into it here as we're going to go look back at week 5. And both of us finished 11-5. I'm still down 7 games. I can't gain any right now, but that Houston Alabama game really took it down to the wire and could have switched things up for us this week.
Yeah, that game was a great game. Obviously, came right down to the wire and ended on a controversial call, so it really could have went either way. But better last week than I have been so far after starting 0-2. So um, I would say Baylor's the clear-cut best team right now. But other than that, I mean, there's not really any really great teams right now.
Mm-hmm. And our first game, we got Memphis and Alabama. And, Alabama has been really good as of late, 2 ranked wins in a row. And you got Memphis, who's lost 2 in a row. A team, with lots of hope coming in. And there was, big game for Memphis, right now and, preseason too. They were thinking this was going to be a huge game for them. No better time to finally get a big win from Memphis here. If you get this win, you're back on track and teams won't really worry about you as much. But if you lose this game, people are going to start to think, all right, anybody can beat Memphis. We can go beat them. And I think that's what's going to happen after this game. Alabama's going to, I think, win by at least 10 or more. I just think they're too dominant right now to even make this a close game.
Yeah, it's the typical Memphis team that we've seen the last few years. They have all the talent. They come in ranked high and they just, fall off early. I mean, they've lost, it might be 3 or 4 in a row at this point. They lost to Murray State in their last game. I mean, they're just a mess right now. Obviously, I think Alabama wins this game comfortably, but Memphis also plays Tennessee. We're not picking that game, but I'm taking Tennessee there. So if Memphis comes out of this week 5-6, it's going to be ugly down there.
In our first game for Friday, we got St. Bonaventure and Virginia Tech. A game that's definitely going to fly way under the radar just because it's a Friday, kind of midday game. And the St. Bonaventure team, preseason ranked 23rd, got up to as high as, I believe, 16th, and then immediately fell out after their first loss. No love for them. But this team, still a great team at 8-2, probably going to run the table in the A10, bearing any injury setbacks or upsets. And Virginia Tech is a team in the ACC that could be a sleeper team. If they win this game at home against a pretty much 8 or 9 seed tournament team, Virginia Tech's going to get some looks for sure. But unfortunately, I don't really see that happening. And I think St. Bonaventure is going to get the win on the road.
Yeah, I think this game will be close. St. Bonaventure missing their key piece, Kyle Lofton, for quite a while this season. But they looked pretty good last week against UConn. Despite being without him, they hung right in against a good team. So I do think they're still the better team despite missing him. So I think they should win this game. Virginia Tech started out looking like maybe a tournament team, and they've kind of struggled lately. I think that continues here.
And the game after that one that you should watch is this Richmond and NC State. Another, could be 8-9 seed team in NC State. And this Richmond team could be a spoiler, a bubble team come March. So I think you may even get a bubble game kind of atmosphere and feel to this game, because if NC State loses this game, that going in the ACC play at 7-4 isn't really what you're going to, hoping for at the beginning of the year. And Richmond, if you lose this game, already have 5 wins on the year and going into conference, not really too proud of that. And I think NC State has the upper hand. It is a home game, ACC team, and they need to win, I think, more than Richmond does. And NC State will prevail.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely need it more. I think Richmond has been a huge disappointment this year. They're supposed to be a tournament team, but at this point for them, it's basically, win your conference tournament or they're not getting in. So NC State really needs this game to keep building their resume. They showed me something yesterday against Purdue. So I think they come out at home, and I think they should win this game. I think they're still a little angry from blowing that Purdue game, so I think they take it out on Richmond.
And potentially the best Friday game, you got Villanova going into Creighton. And this Creighton team, we saw last week, great wins. And Villanova still can't beat a top 10 team. And luckily, Creighton is in the top 10 team, even though the atmosphere is going to be crazy. And I think Villanova is going to squeak one out here. It's not a win they're going to look back and be proud of, but they're going to get a win here.
Yeah, I trust Jay Wright. That's why I'm going with Villanova. I wanted to pick Creighton, but it's hard to see Villanova falling to 7-4, despite losing to three really good teams, like you said. I don't see them losing four games, before we even get into January. I think this team is going to be able to shoot really well in this game. I think Sunday was not the best indication of their offense. I really think they can score and just had a terrible day. So I think they should go in there, bounce back, and get this win.
And to wrap it up for Friday, we got St. Mary's going against San Diego State. And, this game is pretty much the Super Bowl, it feels like, for both these teams early, because we know St. Mary's, they have an easier conference. San Diego State, it seems like they dominate in their conference as well every year. And this is a resume builder game. If you can win this game, St. Mary's already at 9-2, and if they get this, they're already at 10-2, going in an easy conference. What's that, 20 games? So that could be they could be looking at 25, 30 wins here come March, and San Diego State probably another 20, 25 win team as well. And that's a great win to have on your resume, come March. So these teams are going to be playing for a lot early. And I think St. Mary is going to get the win on the road. I'm interested to see what the line will be the day of the game, because it might have, for all the bettors out there, it might be a good bet to take St. Mary's here if it's a good spread. But I just think that St. Mary's has proved to me, over these first 11 games that they're a tournament team, no doubt. And I don't think they'll be worse than a 7 seed.
Yeah, I think these are both tournament teams. I think San Diego State will figure it out, get it turned around, and I think they will be in the tournament when it's all said and done. But I think San Diego State needs this game more. They lose this game, you're 6-4, a mid-major team, you start panicking a little bit. St. Mary's, if they lose this game, they're still going to be okay. West Coast Conference is better this year than usual. I think right now they have 4 tournament teams, so they'll have more chances. But going on the road, I think San Diego State gets this home win here. I think they're a really solid team who's just gotten off to a slow start, and I think they'll start turning it around and get this win.
And to start off the Saturday slate, we got Butler, Purdue, great rivalry game here. And unfortunately for Butler, how is Purdue going to respond after the big loss? Well, they're going to respond by blowing the rivalry. Pretty much it's over at halftime. I just don't see how Butler is going to stop their big three of Ivy, Edey, and Williams. And we've seen that Ivy has the ability to take over games. He took over that Rutgers game down the stretch besides that Williams late bucket. But, unfortunately, they got that tough loss. And if he doesn't hit that shot, we're going to talk about Williams and Edey over the end of the game there for, till this game starts. And a 10-0, 1-0 team, Purdue could be great, but unfortunately that didn't happen. And I just think that this is just the best possible game right now for that Purdue Boilermaker team, especially 1, because it's a rivalry, 2, it's at home, and 3, you need to prove yourself. And you put all those things together in one. I just think you got to expect a blowout right there. So I'm going with Purdue big.
Yeah, I think Purdue has to blow them out. I think if they lose this game, or even if they struggle at all in this game, there's going to be some worry over there. They dominated basically their first 8 games, and last week very easily could have lost 2 games. Pulling it out against NC State late. But I think you got to come out and dominate a clearly inferior Butler team, and I think Purdue should win this game pretty comfortably.
And another great game this week is you got Gonzaga and Texas Tech, who just squeaked the 25 this week in the AP polls. You and me were both tempted here with Texas Tech because it is a neutral site game, but I just think Gonzaga travels better. And I mean, fans do make a difference in neutral site games, and it also helps when you have Chet Holmgren. I just can't see Texas Tech stopping Holmgren, and that's why I'm going with Gonzaga here.
Yeah, this game's on the West Coast, so it's basically like a home game for Gonzaga. We saw that when they played Alabama. So I think that factors in. You know, Terrence Shannon has to have a huge game for Texas Tech for them to have any chance, but Gonzaga just has too many weapons for this team. Texas Tech's a good team, but not good enough in this game. I think Gonzaga is just going to be too much firepower on offense. Texas Tech won't keep up.
And we got an interesting game here in Seton Hall and Iona. You got Rick Pitino and his crew with already pulling off one big upset this week or year with against Alabama, who now has cracked the top 10, and that's going to be a huge win for them moving forward, and especially come March. They may not even have to win their conference tournament because this team at 9-2 is a scary team, and they're playing some good teams. Those two losses have been to some decent teams, so. Iona could be a sleeper team come March for an upset here and there and maybe a Sweet 16 run. But right now, speaking, I think Seton Hall is way too hot to lose this game at home to a decent, mid-major team. And, Seton Hall would move to potentially a top 15 team next week.
Yeah, I was really shocked Iona beat Alabama, and I think they will make this game close because, with the athletes Alabama had, I thought they would just run them out of the building. Seton Hall's kind of built the same way. They're just a bunch of athletes. And, I would say that's going to be too much for Iona, but we didn't see that when they played Alabama. So I think they'll hang in, but I think Seton Hall, their shooting is going to be the difference, and they'll eventually be able to pull away here at the end.
And at 4, we got Marquette and Xavier. And our first disagreement or second disagreement of this video. And I'm going with Marquette here because I think Shaka Smart is the better coach in this matchup. And I think that's what's going to win this game, coaching. I know obviously the players are on the court making all the plays, but the coach at the end of the game is drawing up the play. And I think Shaka Smart, with the experience he has, don't take away from Xavier's coach, though. He's a great coach as well. But Marquette, I'm just really high on this Marquette team this year. Still at 8-3, getting a little bit of respect now with that 8-3 record. And this one here, would gain a lot of new following. So I'm going with Marquette.
I think this game is going to come right down to the wire. I mean, these teams are pretty close to each other in terms of their abilities, but I think Xavier has the advantage playing at home. I think they are the slightly better team right now. They've been playing really well to start the season. I don't know when that's gonna, kind of fall off, but I don't think it starts here. I think Xavier pulls out a close game at home. Marquette just not enough scoring in this game.
And at 5, we got Providence and UConn. And Providence will be ranked next week because of this big road win against UConn. And Providence, got shown some love in the others receiving votes this week. So they're close. They're close. And a win here solidifies them as being, could be even a top 20 team after a big road win against UConn. And I think that's going to come true here. And Providence will be ranked next week.
Yeah, I think Providence is a very underrated team. One of the more underrated in the country. But going into UConn, I think those fans are going to finally show up. It's been a little dicey if you've seen any UConn home games, pretty empty in the arena. But I'm expecting the fans to come out Saturday, and I think UConn playing at home, they're going to have some momentum going. I think they'll win this game, but it should be close. Providence is a scary defensive team, so it should be low scoring, but I think UConn grinds it out.
And potentially you could say the best game of the week. Ohio State, Kentucky. two teams desperately needing a win, you could say. I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but not many teams were expecting this Kentucky team to be 7-2, and ugly loss, of course, last week against Notre Dame on the road. Ohio State, though, was in some trouble early this season. We're like, uh-oh, what's going on with Ohio State? But they've picked it up. It was just a bad week. Big win against Wisconsin. And I just think that Ohio State's going to pull it out. They need this win. I think this is a program changing, culture changing win right now for that Ohio State team, especially going into Kentucky, I believe. I think it's at Kentucky. Going into Kentucky, Rupp Arena, and beating a blue blood, it doesn't get much better than that. And I know, I'm not a big fan of either of these teams, but I think Ohio State, has that mojo to pull off the upset here.
Yeah, I think Kentucky, if they didn't lose to Notre Dame, I would probably lean towards Ohio State. And I said I was going to lean towards Ohio State about a half hour ago, but I already changed my mind. If you look at these great coaches, the Coach K, John Calipari for Kentucky, their teams lose embarrassing games like the Notre Dame game. They typically come back out the next week, and they come out angry, mainly because their coaches are probably running them left and right. But I just think Kentucky coming off that loss, they're hearing a lot of criticism right now, and it's a talented team. So I think they're going to go in there motivated, and I think they get this win despite, Ohio State being a really hot team right now. So I think Kentucky gets back on track.
And Saturday night, we got some upset fever possibly brewing in Eugene. It seems like the number one team in the country loses every week. And I think that's why I had to throw this game in here. I'm still going to rock with Baylor because I just can't see how they get upset in this game. Hottest team in the country, blowing teams out, holding them under 40. Top 6 teams, they're doing that too. And Oregon, a huge disappointment so far this year. Supposed to be a top 10 team and not ranked in 500 at 5-5. But this is what gets you right back to where you're supposed to be if you're Oregon. And if you can pull off this upset, that's going to be a culture changing win for this year and potentially building blocks as well. But I just can't see that happening. And I got to roll with my gut here and just stick with Baylor.
Yeah, Oregon was ranked, I think, 12 to start the year. And, just to be honest, they suck right now. I don't know what happened. This team is really well coached usually, and they're usually a great team. But for some reason, something's not going right this year. And they're already 0-2 in the Pac-12, 5-5. But Rutgers is not good. And they just beat the number one team last week at home. So, going on the road as the number one team is tough. That being said, Baylor just held Villanova to 36 points. And Oregon, the reason they're 5-5 is they can't score. So, you put that together in this game, I think could get ugly. A lot of people say defense travels. So Baylor going on the road, I think they're still going to really stifle Oregon, and it's going to be a real struggle for them to score any points. And I think Baylor kind of, starts to pull away at the end in this game, and the defense continues to dominate.
And that'll be it for this week. We got some good games coming up next week, but make sure you're going to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button to, let us know when that video drops next week to see who we got. But until the next time, Bench Buddies are out.
She never called back.